I'm going to tell you a story about how a 3-year-old girl made me absolutely break down in tears. It's incredible. Sometimes in life we will hear a sermon or something that impacts us deeply, but very rarely do we experience something that touches us, that impacts us in the way that this particular thing that I'm going to share in this video did for me. First of all, before I get into the story, what I'll say is that this particular girl is called Esther. She comes from a beautiful Christian family. Her parents are beautiful Christians that live around the corner from me, and we have some great chats. They are a really beautiful family. And to tell you a little bit about this girl, the type of girl that she is, she went into a store once, and the lady in the store asked her what her name is, and she said Esther. And she asked the lady if she knows about the story of Esther in the Bible, and she started telling her the story about Esther in the Bible. I was so blown away and blessed to hear that. She's a little evangelist. Now, getting into this particular story, at the start of last year, I was going through the absolute height of protracted withdrawals. And if you've never been through this, you have no idea what it's like. Your brain feels like it's been ripped apart. It wreaks absolute havoc. I was sleeping 1 hour a night, and someone that has always had very good mental health fell into a place where I was feeling hopelessness, turmoil, overwhelmed. My brain was in chaos, and I didn't even want to be here. It was that hard. Now, this girl's mother told me that her little daughter, Esther, was standing at the side of the house once, looking at the house, praying for me, saying, Jesus, I pray that Matt will continue to believe in you. And that touched me so much just to hear that. But what she did on the particular day that I'm going to tell you just completely blew me away. Now, as I said, sometimes we can hear a sermon or something can happen that impacts us so powerfully. I've done that many times when I've heard sermons or some sort of biblical truth, but there's nothing that impacts us like the love of Christ. There's a passage that talks about this in the church at Corinth. So it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and it talks about how love is the greatest thing, that everything is to be done in love, and if it's not done in love, we've missed the whole point. It talks about how we could speak in tongues of men and angels, so we could say the greatest things possible. We could understand all mysteries and knowledge. We could have faith so as to remove a mountain. We could even give our body up to be burned. But if we don't have love, it says here that we're a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal, that we are nothing, and that we gain nothing unless we have love. And this story is going to illustrate exactly why. So I was inside the house, and it was just another one of those completely overwhelming days where you're just feeling temptation to feel worthless, like your life is finished, like you just can't go on. And I heard someone at the door, so I went to the door, and I saw this little girl Esther with her mother, and I saw her standing there, with this. And her mother later told me that she had made this all of her own idea. It wasn't their idea at all. It says, "Dear Matt, thinking and praying for you." And it's so beautiful, so beautiful. And to get that at that moment, it just touched me so much. I couldn't stay at the door for too long because I couldn't hold it together, and I just started crying. I thanked them, and then I went inside and I broke down, and I wept and I wept and I wept, and I was just crying and crying and crying, and I was an absolute mess. And that one act just impacted me so greatly. The love of Christ shining through this girl. And I just thought, wow, the love of Christ is powerful. There's nothing anyone could have said in that moment. There's nothing that I could have heard in a sermon or anything like that I believe that would have had the same impact as what this little girl did. And it just made me think to myself, love is so powerful. Love is the way that we're going to change the world for Christ. And it's all about love, loving God with all our heart, mind, soul and strength, and loving our neighbour as ourselves. And I just want to say to you, friend, that if a 3-year-old girl can have that impact on someone with a small act like this, How much impact can you have on a person by loving them with the love of Jesus Christ? So many times we can do ministry, we can do activities, we can go through the motions. But maybe this might be an opportunity to stop and think, what opportunities do you have to truly display the love of Christ in your life? Because there are many people out there who desperately need it right now. Maybe think of people that you could display this to, or pray to God that your heart would become more and more tender and alive in the power of God to minister to people in the pure love of Christ in everything that you do. Leave your comments below, friends. We'd love to get your thoughts on this particular story, and I'll talk to you very soon. God bless you.